Dear friends, welcome to one of the most hidden places here in the Parliament. This room is far away from the bigger rooms here. The European Union stands for shared values, but these often do not apply to animals. We see protected animals such as wolves, bears, seals being hunted. We repeatedly witness cruel suffering in factory farming, where animals see sunlight for the first time on the way to the slaughterhouse. We see cruel animal testing and animal transports. Many say, but these are farm animals. These are wild animals. So Europe must be a heaven for dogs and cats, right? The EU member state Spain, in the EU member state Spain, tens of thousands of galgos, podencos, and other hunting dogs are unfortunately abused and used as tools and later abandoned or killed. And what about Romania? An estimated hundreds of thousands of stray dogs. Peter citing a figure of 600,000 of them. Many of these animals are sick, injured, hungry, and without any protection on the streets. In theory, there has been an obligation since 2013 for neutering, microchipping, registration, and rabies vaccination. But in reality, this is mostly not enforced, so uncontrolled breeding still occurs in many parts of the country. To manage the situation, there are around 140 so-called kill shelters, as the law allows captured stray dogs to be killed after 14 days. If I have learned one thing over many years, there's an echo. Hello. Can please mute all yourself? Thank you. If I have learned one thing over many years, it is that killing animals for population control can never be a solution. It doesn't work either. I'm very pleased to have so many high-level experts here in the room and online who will tell us about the latest developments in the country and about pilot projects. Today, our topic is Romania. Thank you for all the messages and comments you have posted on my social media channels mentioning Turkey and Morocco. You can be sure that I'm aware of the situation there and continue to do as much as I can. We will give you an update on this topic early next year. So all I can say now is, Europe, don't forget the animals. Millions of Europeans want better animal welfare, and my colleague Anja Hasekamp and I are fighting for this. So please tell us where you want us to help, where you want us to act. Thank you all for being here. And again, our buffet, our full plant-based vegan buffet is open. Grab something, you online participants, sorry, but we are only, the menu is only here. And so we will now start with Dr. Carmen Arsene, from the president of the National Federation for Animals Protection from Romania, and she is online, I hope.
Yes.
Now the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Eveding, for giving me the floor, and also for your introduction, what Romanian means. I would like first to express my appreciation for organizing this meeting, which brings back to your attention the animal situation from Romania. Hello everyone, I am Carmen Arsene, the President of National Federation for Animal Protection and as well of organization EduxAnima that has PETA Germany as a main partner for the projects EduxAnima carries out in Romania. I will share with you the current situation and the management practices and as well the impact of animal abuse on the Romanian society and the correct, ethical and real solution for the stray dog management. We know very well the situation in, of the stray animals in Romania. It's critical and unresolved. For 25 years already, the method implemented of the stray dog management is mass euthanasia, with no reduction of the number of stray dogs. The program operates through capturing dogs and transporting them to the shelters, and euthanasia on euthanasia of unadopted dogs. These actions take place under conditions that are in complete opposition to the law provision. The dogs are captured and transported from even 500 kilometers away from the capturing place. They are transported in vehicles that are overcrowded and with no ventilation, such as some dogs die during transport. And I would like to say that in street, because there are many protectors for the dogs who enter the shelter are in the most cases healthy and in very good conditions. But once they enter the shelter, they get ill, they get injured, and they starve to death because there is no medical care, no food, no water. According to the study that we conducted during 1 year together with PETA, Germany, we can state that during the last 25 years, 2.5 million of dogs have been captured from the street. 1,200,000 dogs have been killed in the shelters from this number of dogs. And for all these activities, the city halls spent 1 billion euro with no result in the street. The reality inside the shelters is as well in complete opposition with a huge amount of money that are spent for this kind of stray dog management. We estimate only around 20% of these funds that are used for stray dogs management reach actually the dogs. The rest represents the profit of those who are involved. The stray dog in Romania become a real business that has over time, first at the level of municipalities, and in recent years also some entities, that means some false NGOs and private companies got involved and got inside this business. They make illegal contracts for catch and kill, and they do this management in their private shelters. Therefore, because it is a business, the entities and the municipalities that are involved have an interest in maintaining this situation in the street, maintaining euthanasia method, because this is completely inefficient. And a constant business is guaranteed by the dogs owners, because the owners do not have possibilities, financial means to castrate their dogs. The dogs are multiplying in their private properties, and they fill and refill against the streets by abandonment. So as a result, the catch and kill activity never ends and ensure a business without end. The impact of animal abuse, it's a very, very important factor that affects mental and psychological health, so the well-being of the society. In Romania, the society is confronted with a direct animal abuse, especially in public places, where the stray animals are the most visible victims of abuse. To evaluate the impact of animal abuse on the children from Romania, a group of international experts and institutions led by Malcolm Plant, associate of Teesside University from UK, in collaboration with us, had conducted in Romania an international study in this respect, and the study showed that 86% of the children reported that they are often witnesses to animal abuse. And the most cases involve stray animals. So this is a dramatic result, and which reflects the current and the future harm for the children. According to the Article 168 from the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, the European Union and its member states have the responsibility for eliminating the sources of threats to the physical and mental health of their inhabitants. And animal cruelty has been proved to be closely connected to the mental health of the witness and to the mental disorder and violence behavior of the aggressors. So it is very clear that this provision is violated, and Romania must implement measures that respect and protect the well-being of the society by a correct and ethical management of stray dogs. Therefore, after 25 years, Romania is a new example that mass euthanasia is a huge failure. In contrast, mass sterilization is everywhere where it was applied, has proved to be the only permanently solution for the stray dog management. And I would like to give you just a success example that comes from Romania. It's Oradea town, where over a period of 6 years, the number of the stray dogs decreased by 92%, from 4,500 dogs to 350 dogs in the street. It was as a result of catch and release, the neuter and release programs that was implemented by the local organization from Oradea, FPCC. This great results was completely destroyed after a new mayor came as a result of elections that wanted to change completely the method. He did not collaborate anymore with the local organization and came back to killing program. By capturing and kills this small few number of the stray dogs that were in the street at that moment, that were castrated, vaccinated, and they were taken care by the community. As a result, the streets refilled with the dogs, and the public shelter became as similar with any other public shelters from Romania. And this mayor, who destroyed such a successful program in Oradea, is now the Prime Minister of Romania. We also get positive results in the localities where EduxAnima carries out free neutering, treatment, and vaccination program for all animals, for owned and strays. And in addition, our educational program, implemented in cooperation with the school inspectorate, brings great results and benefits in education children to become responsible and empathetic adults. Similar programs that are running by other organizations from Romania has to be implemented at a national level. But it is necessary a will, a political will, and it is necessary the state to be involved permanently and by their own contribution. NGOs cannot cover all the needs, and it is not acceptable for the state to have parallel healing programs, as this destroys the effects of NGO programs. Romania has 5 million of dogs. 80% of them are in rural areas.
Sorry, Christina, please mute your microphone again, please. Sorry.
So 80% of these dogs, are living in rural areas where the people do not have financial means and do not have possibility to transport their dogs at the veterinary clinics. The state must finance the neutering the dogs with owner list, shifting the budget currently allocated for killing toward neutering animals. So, therefore, Romania must completely change its strategy from a catch and kill program to a neutering program that is the only modern, efficient, and low-cost solution that has proven everywhere where it was implemented. Killing center has to be transformed in castration center, adoption centers, and an education program has to be implemented. So, as a conclusion, the problem of in Romania is that the legislation is totally violated. Mass euthanasia is a failed method and has created a cruel business that stakeholders want to keep. As long as euthanasia remains the central method, the stray dog situation will never be solved because euthanasia keeps the business. Why the European Union has to be involved urgently? Because as long as the situation in Romania affects Romanian citizens as European citizens, and their rights are violated constantly, the stray animals cannot be considered anymore a problem of every individual member state, but a problem of European Union. As long as European citizens are affected in any way by the stray dog problem in Romania or other few member states, such as German citizens who spend huge private funds in order to ethically regulate the situation by supporting the castration programs, the educational program, and supporting private shelters and the rescue of animals. So the stray animal problems cannot be a problem of single member states, but of the European Union. So European Union needs to impose a strategy, one that is human, effective, and dignified, and must ensure the monitoring of its implementation will be made properly by the member states. Thank you for your attention. If there are any questions and comments, I will be here during the whole event. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen, for all the insights. We will make a Q&A round at the end of all the speakers. So you mentioned Peter Germany, and here they are. I will give now the floor to Jana Hoga to tell us more about the animal rights advocacy perspective, and later to Nathan Goldblatt, an influencer who works close together with Peter Germany.
And we can start also with a PowerPoint if you want to switch it on. So I'm going to start and give you a short, brief introduction to my person. It's the wrong one. We start with the one from Peter. Or with which? My name is Jana Hugger and I represent Peter, Germany. I'm educated as an animal psychologist, a veterinary assistant, and I serve as a senior campaigner for animal companions since more than 8 years now for PETA. And together with my colleague, I lead the PETA Helps Romania campaign, which we launched together with our partner Edux Anima in 2018. Now I'm going to wait for the PowerPoint.
I can give you the PowerPoint again.
Shall we give you again?
I gave it to you.
So you know me already. Before I start, maybe I can also say that all of this work that we are doing in Romania is only possible because we have those local partner, Edux Anima, working tirelessly every day for the animals. On this occasion, I also want to express my gratitude to its director, Dr. Carmen Arsene, which you see already. Thank you, Carmen, for everything. None of this would be possible without you, Carmen. And our strong local partners are absolutely vital in this work. So we can go on the next page if you want to. Oh, I can do that also by myself. Thank you. Yeah. So you have here the short overview, but I think you will see what we are doing. Our work in Romania is focused on 3 key areas. The first thing is education. We've already taught more than 16,000 children about animal welfare. The political work, which is the second key, essential when difficult but necessary decisions must be made for the animals. And the third point is the nurturing and medical care. Since our project began in 2018, we've provided treatment for more than 80,000 animals, which is a lot. And I've witnessed firsthand how much difference our organizations can make on the ground, but I also know that now is the moment for Romania to fundamentally change its corrupt and inhuman system of dog management, especially if you look at those pictures. Why? Because every single day, thousands of dogs continue to suffer and are brutally killed in Romania shelter. PETA and all the dedicated NGOs, which are also here today, cannot save all these living beings alone. The system must change, become ethical, protect dogs, and give them a chance at a decent life. Romania cannot shoulder this enormous task on its own. It needs the EU to take impacting action starting today. While we speak here, hundreds of dogs in Romania are dying from malnutrition, untreated injuries or diseases, or through cruel killing methods. For us and our partner Edux Anima, it was very important, Carmen also spoke about it already, to research figures, data and facts about dog killings. There are about 130 killing stations in Romania where the dogs are killed, often with the cheapest methods. For example, burning, beating, poisoning, or simply leaving them to die, as you can see this dog on the right-hand side of the picture. According to the data from public institutions, local authorities spent around 36 million euro in the past 3 years to capture 110,000 dogs, or more than this, and place them in shelters where the local facilities or private companies contracted for this purpose. 51,400 dogs were euthanized or died in this killing station. Yet, this approach has achieved no sustainable results. The reproduction rate of dogs remains unchanged. Catching and killing dogs is clearly not solving the problem. Instead, it has created an economically lucrative system with companies earning up to 360 euro per captured dog. It is very likely that local authorities finance this not only through Romanian funds, but also through indirect EU subsidies, for example, used under the name of waste management or road construction. For us, one thing is clear, the European Union also bears responsibility. Together with our partner at the FNPA, Peter has developed a concept that could end Romania's stray dog crisis within 10 years at a much lower cost. The solution is clear: enforce the mandatory neutering already required by law and invest in neutering centers instead of funding killing facilities that cause massive suffering. Yet on the ground, we see almost no political will to change the system because it is profitable. Those who exploit legal loopholes benefit from that, what has become a dog industry. Let me draw a comparison. Imagine you sit with your beloved dog on the sofa, and it's like 1,700 kilometers away, you see those pictures that you see here in this presentation. There is a big difference. In Romania, I've documented starving dogs reduced to skin and bones with open wounds down to the bone. Imagine the pain and having no escape. I think it's also clear if you look in the eyes of this dog. Also, local shelters built for medical treatment, food, neutering and care. The dogs never received this. The money flows in the pockets of the operators of those shelters. In theory, the Animal Welfare Act prevents this. In practice, it's not enforced. And the example is only one picture. It's just one killing center. There are about 130 more across the country. Now I want to speak about the responsibility of the EU. The animal protection cannot be left to individual countries alone. It is time for all EU member states to take shared responsibility and to empower courageous politicians in Romania who need support, also from the European institutions, so that this horrific becomes a thing of the past. Because the dogs in Romania have no time to lose. We all must stand up for these animals. Old harmful structures must finally be dismantled, and that will only happen if we all act together, and if we act now. There's no more time to wait. There's no more time for these dogs. Rescuing individual animals cannot be the only answer. For all now that we will never be able to save them all from those killing centers. We must face this responsibility. We are the ones who can bring the change. Our voices must be loud and strong. And today in this Parliament, they must be heard for the dogs in Romania. And now I would like to hand over to my good friend and animal welfare colleague, Nathan Goldblatt. Thank you so much for listening. And we use the same presentation. We just keep on. Thank you.
Switch off your microphone.
All right. Hi, nice to meet all of you guys. I'm very happy to see that there are so many people who are interested to change the situation in Romania. I appreciate the next one. Before I want to start, I want to tell you there is probably a video in my presentation who's a little triggering. So if you cannot see bad things, you don't watch my PowerPoint. I can speak very diplomatically and politically correct, but at this point, I don't want to anymore. In Romania, in the last 20 years, there's always been around 500,000 stray dogs. And Romania, officially, as you heard, spent around €1 billion to kill them, to catch them and kill them. Unofficially, the real number is more like €4 billion. Because the non-transparency, we don't know actually. There's the next picture of my presentation. With this money, way more than 1 million dogs get killed. In this picture, you see a couple dogs laying in the sun before they get into the burn after they get killed. They lay there for a couple days before they put them away. I got videos, you can't imagine, where these killed dogs laying in some little rooms with, I don't want to hear. What I want to say is the population of stray dogs in Romania doesn't go down from all of this. So we spent more than €1 billion, killed over 1 million dogs, and the population are still the same than 20 years ago. So there's this absolutely, is there a next picture? No. So it's absolutely obvious that these killing stations are not the solution, not just a nightmare for the dogs. They're obviously not the solution to end this horrible situation. And now it's getting really, really, really crazy. With the same amount of money, we could castrate all dogs in Romania. Not just once, no, we could castrate all dogs in Romania 40 to 50 times. I actually heard we could not just castrate all dogs in Romania, we could castrate all dogs in whole Europe. So we could end endless animal suffering without killing one single dog. Now there's, no, the next one. The situation in Romania is way more corrupt and brutal than you hear it right now. What I tell you now is very new information for myself. There are public shelters from the government, all of us know. But there are also private shelters from people who just like to get money. Now they need to catch these dogs. When we castrate them in Romania, we catch them, like you see, with some cages, with traps, and try to feed them, that they come to us. It's take time and it's work to get them, because these dogs don't like to get catched. So what is the solution they take? In Romania, there's a law. Every breeded dog is owned in a private household, need to get castrated. But the poor people in the small villages in Romania don't have the money to castrate their dogs. So what they're doing is they're going to these poor people in the small villages, knocking on the door and ask, show us your dog. And if it's not castrated, you owe us a fee of like 1,000 euros, what is obviously complete nonsense. They don't have the right to do this. But these poor people in Romania are scared to pay this 1,000 euro fee. They don't have the money. Give them their loved private dog, hand it them over. These private, I call them dog mafia, take the dog, bring them to the killing shelter, register them as stray dogs, and get the money. My tax money. And all of you guys, if you live in the EU, tax money. Oh, sorry, now's the trigger warning. This is a little bit hard to see what's coming. The worst thing for myself is not that all of these dogs get killed. The worst thing is that these dogs need to stay alive for like 2 weeks in these killing shelters before they get killed. These dogs in the killing shelters don't get food. They eat each other because if not, they would die. And these killing shelters get money to feed them. These dogs don't get medicine, but they get paid from all of us to get medicine. These dogs don't get castrated. I've been in there a couple times and none of them are castrated. But they get paid to castrate them before they kill them. And in the end, they kill them in the cheapest way possible. What is obviously absolutely not legal and not humanity. Yeah. I could tell you guys so much more things that are super sad and happening right now and are paid with our tax money, European citizen tax money. But what I really want to say is, I have enough. The European Commission knows about all of this because I told them and they publicly responded to my videos. And nothing has changed. For myself, we reached the limit. It's 2025 and it cannot be that our tax money get misused for something like this. So something needs to change right now. We need to change every killing station in Romania to a castration center. You already heard it's obviously the solution. And we need a Transparency Act. If you have a better idea than what I tell you right now and next, tell me, because I would love to do it in a different way, in a politically right way. But I think the only way to end something here is to get incredibly loud. So at the moment, I film a documentation with one of the biggest German TV networks. And I do social media for over 10 years as a full-time job. So I am connected to a lot of public figures, and all of them are staying behind me and try to end this situation. So please, everyone in this room and everyone who's hearing this right now, get loud together with me. That's the only way I can see. We need to get incredibly loud. I'm sure together we can end this corrupt system. We need to be fast, and we do it now. Together we are strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. We will now switch over from my left side to my right side. Lukas Seeker from the Deutsche Tierschutzbund, who will give us some insights about the German NGO perspectives and rescue challenges.
So hopefully you can hear me all well now. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to talk about our pilot project in Romania here as a case study for a constructive approach, and actually, hopefully arguing these very, very important contributions give you a hopeful outlook on what can be done on projects that are already successful and can initiate the change that we need and implement all of the very good demands that were raised already. So, yeah. So, I'm Lukas Seeker. I work for the German Animal Welfare Federation, which is the largest umbrella organization within Europe. We have over 700 animal NGOs under our umbrella, including over 550 shelters. I work as a scientific officer, and I'm specialized on dog population management and cat population management. But today I will not dive so much into the scientific side of it, on the population dynamics of free-roaming dogs, because I know all of you here are experts on this. So I will rather outline a way to implement a project such as ours and show you what the history has been leading up to now. And I will also briefly talk about the evaluation of the project. So we are active, or our member organization, more to say so, is active in Romania since 2000. And there they established the SMIURA, which unfortunately is the largest shelter in the world. There, 6,000 dogs, over 6,000 dogs live there today. Over 1,000 of those are puppies. The SMIURA is situated in the district of Argeș, which you can see here in red, close to its capital, Pitești. And between 2000 and 2013, the Tierhilfe Hoffnung established a classic trap, neuter, vaccinate and release program in and around Pitești, so also the more rural areas around it. And they were successful with this and reduced the number of stray dogs from an estimated 30,000 to just 4,000. So we know that trap, neuter, vaccinate and release can work in Romania. But as you all know probably, on the 2nd of September, the 4-year-old boy, Ionut Angel, was killed by a dog, allegedly a stray dog. And just 8 days later, on the 10th of September 2013, the Romanian government released a new law, which is the kill policy that you've already heard about now. I think that this law was passed so quickly clearly shows that this was only possible because public outrage was fueled by a social media, not a social media, but by a media campaign. Thanks. And I think this is a clear example of how the treatment of dogs, so what treatment is actually considered acceptable, is so dependent on public perception. Actually, a year after, it turned out that were not stray dogs, but it was owned dogs. But the property on which those dogs lived was not properly fenced in. So the group of children to which Janut belonged were able to enter the property, but also the dogs were able to exit the property. So they were not actually stray dogs, but rather they were free roaming owned dogs. And this is an important distinction to make, which I want you to keep in mind. But the false narrative of this being stray dogs remained. And yeah, I think we rather need to be looking at free roaming dogs and more specifically, freely reproducing dogs. Because if they're unowned or owned, it doesn't matter, but we need to break the cycle of reproduction. So let's have a look at the law that was passed. You already heard about it. It constitutes a capture and sheltering and euthanasia law, so a kill policy. You already heard enough that how the animals are housed in the shelters and that this that the profit margins of the commercial enterprises that conduct the capture and the kill policy are increased on the back of the dogs by basically not providing them with food, with medical treatment and all. But this law also included a prohibition of abandonment. In itself, that's a good thing, but this also is applied to TNVR. So that means that the unowned dog population that is free roaming is only addressed by the kill policy, and the reproductive cycle is not addressed. But I also want to mention something positive about this law, because it also implemented the owner obligations that Carmen already also told us beforehand about, to identify and register the animals, to vaccinate them against rabies, and to sterilize them. But we know that this law is not fully implemented, which is a problem that we want to address. So, since 2015, the German animal welfare has been active in Romania. And we are very, very lucky that we have the support of high-ranking politicians from Germany, including the current parliamentary secretary to the Ministry of Justice. And because of that, we had access to high-ranking politicians in Romania as well, and lobbied for a return to more humane methods since 2015. So this has been going on for a while. Together with the Verantwortung, we also developed a master plan for Romania. Back then, when we developed it, there were only 75 municipal shelters that are called kill shelters, and 73 private shelters. And we calculated that it would be more beneficial, more cost efficient, if those shelters were converted into animal welfare centers that conduct TNVR identification and registration, but also provide free sterilizations for owned dogs. If you want to access that master plan of ours, please feel free to scan the QR code on the slide. In German, unfortunately. Okay, but so 2015 until 2024, that's when we were successful in actually setting up the pilot project in the district of Argeș. So in 2023, we met for the first time with the veterinary authorities on the national level of Romania, together with the regional veterinary authorities of the district of Argeș. They said that they wanted to set up this pilot project with us, but they showed a lot of reluctance on the release of dogs. So we were faced with a challenge to become creative and find solutions that are tailor-made for Romania, for the district of Argeș, and that are in line with the methods that Romania itself is accepting of. So let me give you a bit of the broad outline of the pilot project first. It is running from 2024 until 2028. In the district of Argeș, an estimated number of 185,000 dogs live there, 100,000 of which are owned dogs. You already heard about the owner obligations by law. So this is what we focused on. We closed down a collaboration agreement with the national and regional veterinary authorities that our member organization Verantwortung did. And to truly make this a multi-stakeholder involvement project. We also, or Tierhilfe Hoffnung, also closed down further cooperation agreements with the county of Argyll, which is the intersection to the municipalities. So we reach all municipalities within Argyll with the animal police, which is a special kind of police in Romania. They are responsible not only for cases of nuisances, but also for cases of animal cruelty. And we also have an education campaign within the project, and that is why we also have contract with the State School Inspectorate. And because, and this is the important part, the Romanian authorities, veterinary authorities, explicitly stated to us that they are willing to expand these humane methods nationwide in Romania if the methods prove successful. So Deutscher Tierschutzbund is conducting monitoring and evaluation of the project to show and provide the evidence for its success. So let's delve a bit into the details of the procedures within the project. I already mentioned that on the slide before that the territory veterinarians are involved. This again is special for Romania. These are veterinarians that are assigned to a specific area and cover all of the area in Romania. For our district, this means that the 96 territory veterinarians can conduct exhaustive controls of all households for their own obligations that you see listed here again. I'm not going to repeat them for now, sorry, time restrictions. So what is happening is the territory veterinarians conduct controls and enter the data if the animal is identified and registered, if it's vaccinated, and if it's sterilized into the data bank that is national called FLEX. There it becomes accessible for the Tierhilfe Hoffnung, and they provide free of charge sterilizations. And this is a number that I want you to sink in. They provide up to 40,000 sterilizations per year for the whole district free of charge. That means that the whole population can be covered. They do this by a newly built clinic that you can see in the picture here, that is adjacent right to the kill shelter, which I think is very symbolic. But also they have 8 mobile veterinary clinics, and these go from municipality to municipality. And you already heard before that especially in the rural areas, people lack the financial resources and are not mobile. So that way we can actually reach all citizens within the district. Then I told you there's a reluctance for the release of dogs. However, we have a special permit for releasing dogs if the municipalities agree to register them within their name. Then they are legally allowed to be released within the district of Argyll, within the municipality area. And I also mentioned that we have education campaigns. Of course, we address the broad public, so everybody knows about the office, but we also have a program for primary schools. So all 25,000 primary school pupils that during the time frame of our project will be in primary school will receive animal welfare lessons on why sterilizations are obligatory and necessary, and also on the humane treatment of animals. And for that, the school inspectorate is so important. Let's look a bit at the costs. So the controls of the veterinarians, the rabies vaccination, and the identification and registration is covered by the regional and national veterinary authorities. This is €6 per dog. The major bulk of the costs, which is €35 per sterilization, is completely covered by our member Tierhilfe Hoffnung. I told you about the master plan before. We calculated in that even if the government would cover these costs, and I think Jana also mentioned that, it would turn out to be cheaper, more cost efficient for the Romanian government within just 5 to 6 years, as we show in the master plan, because actually the reproductive cycle is addressed and the number of animals over time slowly decreases. And through that, population turnover is addressed, which is hugely important also for rabies prevention and such. And then, of course, through the cooperation agreements, the education campaigns are also organized collectively. So, jumping to the monitoring and evaluation, I'm going to be brief on this one, but I think it is very important. Here you can see two of my team actually doing data collection in Kampolung, which is a beautiful city within Argeș. What we did is conducting currently is basically a cost-benefit analysis. In the cooperation agreement, we have set up goals together with the veterinary authorities. Of course, the foremost goal is to reduce the number of stray dogs, but their biggest focus actually is disease prevention. Here again, the One Health approach comes into play. I told you before that the treatment of animals depends on the public perception. So we are also looking if public perception is improved. And because knowledge about solutions is key, we are looking if people become more aware of the role of sterilization in particular. But we're an animal welfare NGO, foremost. And of course, our goal is also to improve the welfare of dogs, and I mean all dogs, owned and unowned, because if we increase ownership responsibility, the welfare of owned dogs will increase as well. What types of data am I collecting? I'm taking a holistic approach here. So I'm not only looking at the numbers and the health of the animals on the street, which give me a lot of insight into the population dynamics, but I'm looking at the attitudes and knowledge in the general public and in the primary school children. I'm looking at shelter statistics. These cover mainly the costs of the project, but I'm also looking at indicators for human-dog dynamics within the district, which is bite statistic, cases of nuisance, cases of animal cruelty, but also because veterinarians are a major stakeholder, we're also looking at demand increases because this is something that the best practice guidelines say will happen. So there's an economic incentive in humane methods. So to conclude, our project is not only consistent with the major guidelines, which is, I want to mention them here, the Terrestrial Animal Health Code, Chapter 7.7 of the World Organization for Animal Health. It is consistent with the WHO guidelines on rabies prevention. It is consistent with the ICANN guidelines and also those on from the intergroup of animal welfare and conservation by the EU. I think it is important that the veterinary authorities from Romania showed and explicitly stated that they are willing to change their methods. And we now have to prove that our methods can do that. For that, the monitoring is key because it allows us to ongoingly refine the methods that we are using. But it also gives us the databases for later on to argue that they should actually implement these methods. And I want to mention one thing that is close to my heart. I think, and understandably, there is a lot of negative attention on the kill policy in Romania. But we have so many dedicated people within Romania, Romanian citizens, that are engaging and trying to make a difference. And I am personally very, very happy to have this opportunity here and to see that there's also positive attention on the changes that are happening in Romania. So thank you very, very much for all of your attention. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Luca. Attention only in one of the smallest rooms of the Parliament, but we give you, yes, yes. We stay German and switch now over to Traja and Josef from Veto Tierschutz, who will tell us more about the field work.
So I hope the presentation will be up soon, but thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you here today. Huge thanks to Mr. Everding and his team for their dedicated work and ongoing efforts. And also thank you to all the contributors before me. I think it goes to show that we're all in this together. And In the next few minutes, I would like to show you some of the work we're doing in Romania. So I'm here from the German animal welfare organization, VETO. And yeah, I would like to talk to you about how failing systems hinder impactful progress in Romania. Let me start with a short introduction. VETO is one of the leading animal welfare organizations in Germany, and our vision is simple but ambitious. We want to see a future without stray dogs, built on responsibility and compassion. We're supporting a wide network of animal welfare organizations in over 15 countries in Europe, but also in Turkey and Morocco. And we're active in Romania since 2017, working together with several organizations in the country. And I would also like to point out that our work is entirely funded by donations. So all of the success stories and everything I'm about to show you is only possible with the support of our community, which we're very grateful for. We now probably all know about the reality in Romania, so that's why I will just glance over. We know about the 700 or 600 stray dogs in Romania, the largest number of stray dogs in the EU. We have additional 5 million dogs living outside, barely taken care of. We have weak enforcement of existing laws. We see high reproduction and no national nurturing strategy. Full shelters, overburdened volunteers, weak financial support, all the things that we already know about. The thing is that without external support, the situation would deteriorate even further, as we've all seen. So that's why these are the three pillars of humane solutions. This is our approach, not only in Romania, but also in all the countries we're active in. First of all, food and basic care. So we provide the shelters, we provide the shelters with food aid because, as probably many of you know, the costs for food are one of the major sources of headaches for the organizations, especially in countries like Romania. Depending on the number of dogs, this cost can go up to several thousand euros per month. So that's why being able to provide this food aid is a huge relief for the organizations. Yeah, that's why this is one of our pillars in working in with our partners. Then, of course, nurturing and medical support, which, as we all know, is the only long-term approach that produces stray populations without suffering. And we also invest in shelters and infrastructure because we believe that we must improve the quality of lives of the dogs in the countries themselves, because bringing the dogs to Germany or to other countries is not the solution. So that's why we're trying to help the organizations improve the lives of the dogs in their native countries. What this looks like in Romania, let's talk a little bit more about facts and numbers about our work on the ground. Up until now, we've been able to ship more than 2.5 million tons of food to different public and private shelters. In the recent years, also only in the past 2 years, we've been able to provide 86,000 in construction works, supporting the renovations and expansion of shelters in Romania in order to be able to accept more dogs and to take care of more dogs. We've been able to coordinate and fund the rescue of more than 700 dogs. From killing stations, for example, in Târgu or Cornetu. And we're also planning our next rescue mission, which will take place in January. And we were also able to fund more than 2,000 castrations and nurturing programs, and also deploy 2 mobile nurturing clinics in 2024 and 25. And we, of course, continue to support these efforts. Yeah, like one of our partners said, without international organizations, millions more dogs would be killed throughout Romania. So that's why, yeah, maybe the number is not huge, and of course we cannot save all, but it's good to see that our work yields results, and the people or the activists in the country also acknowledge this. But despite this progress, the reality remains. We have systemic obstacles that limit or slow down the impact. And these are just a couple of challenges we encounter in Romania. We have mistrust and poor coordination between NGOs and authorities. It's very difficult to identify and find reliable partners. We're talking mayors, we're talking municipalities, we're talking even animal welfare organizations. We have, unfortunately, very bad experiences with many of them. So it's a struggle really to find the reliable partners. We also have insufficient funding or hesitation to invest in long-term solutions, as we've already talked about. Lack of awareness and resistance among parts of the population, partly due to cultural reasons or lack of resources. So things like castration and nurturing is really not that high on the list of importance for many people. And of course, authorities prioritizing public safety and image concerns over humane strategies. And we've also seen unreliability and shifting political priorities, which leads to limited progress without visible change. At the base of all of this is, basically corruption, which is a widespread problem in Romania, and unfortunately, animal welfare is affected as well. But despite these obstacles, we continue pushing for meaningful change. These are just a couple of things we are working on. Of course, strengthening transparency and sustainable population control. I think we can all agree that nurturing programs are the only way to stop this vicious cycle in Romania. We are focused on working with reliable partners, even if it's difficult, but we're not giving up. We're also building sustainable alternatives to killing stations, like, for example, our own model shelter, which should serve like a best practice and can or should be replicated. What is needed to accelerate progress on a broader scale? That's why we are all here together today. Some of the things that we demand and we see as very critical and important is, of course, the stronger enforcement of national laws, stronger international monitoring and transparency, which is where the EU comes in, awareness and education initiatives, because as we know, we must start early. That's why we are very happy to see that there is progress regarding education of younger children, collaboration only with value-aligned partners, as I said, and model projects that set the standards. For our final words, I think we've came so far with our efforts. We've made significant progress, not only us, but all of the organizations present here today. But of course, it has their natural limits. And that's why we think that lasting systemic changes require the involvement of the EU. We as Veto stand ready to cooperate, both on the ground in Romania and, of course, politically. That's all.
Thank you very much for your words. Before we switch over to the next speaker, only a short note from me. Christmas is coming, and so the first aid kits, dog poop bags, and are presents. And thank you to Nele for bringing the new bag collection. You can also grab one of the bags placed near the door, two bags with foxes, and one with the famous Bernd, and one with a cow. Feel free to take one. So we switch now over to Itzakun Erieta from the Eurogroup for Animals, who will tell us more about the animal welfare perspective at EU level. I hope she is ready and online. Yes, I see her. You have the floor. Sorry, we hear nothing. I see you talking, but we don't hear you.
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Hello?
it works.
Yes, can you hear me
You can
now?
continue. Yes, it's okay.
All right. I was talking to myself. Anyway, so thank you very much for this opportunity. I suppose most of you know Your Group for Animals, but just a quick introduction. We are a platform and association of many organizations, 104 at the moment, mainly Europe, but also worldwide. And actually, well, Luca is one of our members. So thank you very much again for having me here. I would like to start this presentation with a reminder. In May 2023, we were invited to go to Romania and talk about the stray dog, problem. And I was asked, because I was doing this presentation and I was just talking about the European Union was talking about dog and cat welfare, something legislation, but we were not sure. And I was asked constantly, how come this is not an EU competence? So I was just trying to make sense and just kind of to bring a little bit of hope. And I think now we can talk, like 3 years later, we can talk of this proposal, which is not perfect, but is very positive, and it will bring changes, and also on the stray and cat population management. So just to give you, to those who are not familiar with the current legislation aspect, this proposal, it all started in December 2023 when the Commission drafted, this text, and it was about cat and dog welfare and traceability. And 2 years later, so this is today, we have a preliminary text where we can read in many occasions the word stray. Stray dogs has only been named in the animal health law, and of course it was all about disease prevention. But this is about their welfare, and this is about their traceability. So I would like to mention a few recitals mainly. Okay, so the recitals are the ones that are inspiring the law. They are the spirit of the law, but they are not articles. Okay, so we are not fully there, but we are going in the right direction. So these recitals, they are talking about nutrient programs, and they are talking about raising awareness campaigns among the citizens. And we are talking about member states to make sure that they do implement these nutrient programs and that they appropriately fund these nutrient programs. Because the whole proposal is about placing dogs and cats on the market, and stray dogs can also be placed on the market. So you need to always, make sure of protecting the internal market. So just making sure that those stray animals are neutered, etc., it kind of, puts all the things in the way they should be. Now we have, and this is all about dogs, but I'm just going to talk about cats also, because they are also plenty of them, stray cats. Unfortunately, the proposal leaves out what they're called the farm cats, because, they are farm cats, I mean, they shouldn't be counted, apparently they don't have any welfare needs. And this is quite sad, because we've done an estimate of how many farm cats there may well be in the European Union, and a high estimate is talking about 18 million cats, stray cats, that are going to be left out, that are totally under the radar. Best case scenario, we are talking about 2 million stray cats, farm cats, that have been left out. But I would like to continue with good news, because, for example, Article 26 at the moment of the preliminary text, and I'm just saying this is a preliminary text, so it's not the final text, but we are hoping that these things will stay. They are talking about an assessment of the situation of the stray dog population, of the stray and cat population. So, it is in the narrative of the newest legislation at EU level. So that is very important to take into account. And it's also very important to take into account the role of the shelters here. So, you know, shelters are considered operators and they are on the radar along with breeders. Now, there's a recital that is talking about making sure that the shelters have appropriate funding. And this is something that it was never to be read before at EU level, in EU legislation. So again, it kind of points towards the member states, it's pointing towards the national law. And as you were saying, well, the law is good, you know, but the enforcement and all the violations of that law is a totally different story. Also, we are talking about having a shelters database, you know, to have more control. So this is all in relation to the enforcement. That is, by the way, the topic that I was asked to talk about. And going on enforcement is not an easy thing. Sometimes we are too focused on the legislation. We need perfect legislation. But enforcement is of utmost importance. But enforcement doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in a continuum. And it's about implementation, but it's about supervision. And it's also about formal enforcement, as in punishment. So we need to take into account, you know, all the colors of the spectrum in terms of the enforcement. Enforcement is also mentioned in this new legislation. Is mostly in the recitals. Remember, that's the spirit of the law. But is talking about this pet animal network, which is a system whereby the member states, the veterinarians, customs, law enforcement agencies among the 27 member states can be together exchanging data and saying, look, what's happening here? How are you doing with that? And that is part of the enforcement, and that's part of this legislation. So again, you know, there's more than hope, I would say, at this stage. They're talking about digital tools. They're also talking about the passport. I know that this may well sound far away from the problem in Romania with the stray dogs, but it's not. It's all part of, you know, moving towards that situation and the traceability of all the animals. So all of these aspects will facilitate the enforcement. They're talking about the register of the establishment to have proper enforcement. And the enforcement, very important, of neutering programs. And that is on recital 47C, and that is going to be key in terms of dog and cat population management, which, if you let me, I need to remind you that those that are seated there, these population management guidelines are a product of you, of these, of members of this intergroup. So, you know, we've always kind of a step forward saying these are guidelines, this is a problem, guidelines, and, you know, slowly but steadily, I think the European Union is, you know, putting all the pieces of this complex puzzle together. Also in relation to the enforcement, penalties, which is something that kind of the punitive side of things, are also part of this legislation. It all goes down to member states to lay down the rules on penalties, and specific mention on penalties is all about proportionate, and they have to be effective and they have to be dissuasive. So I'm bringing a little bit of, you know, light and hope into the current situation for, I would say, specifically for stray animals and all of them. And also I would like to say that we've been working lately on shelter guidelines, and I think that's very, it's very connected to what we are talking about now, because what we found out is we wanted to study the legislation at member state level in terms of shelters. And funny thing, the legislations are quite similar. So they will talk about inspections, and they talk about, you know, proper food and water. Yeah, so they do have the legislation. That's what you just said there. You do have the law, but you do need the enforcement. So on these guidelines, what we're trying to come up with is some operational standards, and we're talking at EU-wide level, which is quite hard because obviously the situation in some countries differ, much from others. But we are wanting to kind of show the path to the European Union with these aspirational guidelines and hopefully making them into proper legislation, that if it comes from the European Union, member states will need to listen. And finally, just the remark is that we are talking about a regulation that is directly enforced. We are not talking about a directive where the member state says, oh, I'll take this and that, and then I'll interpret, the best as I can. And then, no, this is a regulation. So this is going to happen. There is enforcement language, and there is, well, for most part, will, but not only from the member states. And I think this is a kind of a multi-stakeholder approach where every single one of us has a role to play. So we shouldn't just wait for those member states to do their part, which obviously they have loads to do. But from different perspectives and different angles, we all need to, put our 2 pence into the whole enforcement of the legislation that is taking shape as we speak. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say briefly. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. We will now go a little bit deeper into Romanian politics with Aurora Simu, member of the Romanian Parliament. Welcome here in the room, and she will tell us more about why is Romania failing to act on this topic.
First of all, thank you for organizing this meeting. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for caring, and thank you so much for your efforts. It means a lot for all of those dogs that are looking desperate to find a way of life. My name is Aurora Simu. I'm a deputy in the Romanian Parliament. I'm also a member in the Legal Discipline and Immunity Commission. I'm a lawyer by profession, and obviously I'm an animal lover. My mandate is fueled by years of grassroots activism. I was a volunteer long before entering to politics, and believe it or not, dogs was the first reason that pushed me to go into politics, because as a lawyer 10 years ago I realized that we have a lot of problems and a lot of issues, and we need hands-on. So how I ended up here, I ended up here with my parliamentary report. It's actually an investigation I conducted myself this summer, and this report is based not on hearsay or received videos, is based on direct inspections I personally conducted this summer with a few other MPs from Romania. I started this investigation because people contacted me and told me about how their dogs were taken away from them. And it was very interesting to find out that the capturing companies were going to these villages where people have, let's say, less money, less resources, and poor education. And they were practically blackmailed to give the dogs. If not, they were told that they will receive a fine of 10,000 lei, which is around 2,000 euros. So basically, we have pictures of the dogs in their yards in chains, and they are taking the dogs themselves to the dog mafia, as Nathan said. So I went to see where these dogs went. These dogs went 550 kilometers away in a private shelter, Aspa Iveț, where they were supposed to stay for 14 days, and after that they were supposed to be dead. I went there and stayed 3 hours to get in the shelter and couldn't even see all the dogs. Practically, they didn't even want to allow 3 MPs to enter the shelters. They basically kept us out until they cleaned it up and they put food and stuff like that. So I will not tell you all the details from the shelters because I will send you the report if you want to read it. But this let's say adventure brought to our attention that we are not talking just about animal cruelty. Animal cruelty is already a very well known subject all over Europe. So the dogs are basically taken with so many methods in these shelters, and they are being killed in so many ways. They are left to die. They use different ways to thirst them, so they will have kidney failure, so maybe they will die sooner than 40 days. We have suspicions that dogs in very, very poor shape are being burned alive. They are being incinerated alive. We have the suspicions from citizens that they don't use the legal method to euthanize the dogs. And I would like to also bring to your attention this term, euthanasia. Euthanasia actually by definition is an act of ending a life of a being that suffers from a very bad condition. So this is not euthanizing, this is killing. This is definitely killing. We don't have a law that allows euthanasia. We have a law that allows killing. Why is happening this? Because first we have to follow the money. The numbers that you presented are low. I have received an information that last year, Romania, the city halls, they spent around 60 million euros for capturing and killing the dogs. But this number might be even bigger because they use a code in the acquisition system that says veterinary care. So this is not veterinary care. They also use other codes to buy these services, the capturing services, the services to care for the dogs and to kill them after 14 days. So we don't have a transparency in this matter. So it's impossible for us to check. It's impossible for me as an MP to check how much money actually are being used to kill these dogs. So this is a very big problem. Another thing that I really need to bring to your attention is the drug trafficking, the ketamine. So the ketamine is being used to capture the dogs, you know, some of the dogs that are afraid or you cannot capture them, you will shoot them with a tranquilizer. So this is the ketamine, you will use the ketamine, and also they will use the ketamine when they will kill the dog, they will euthanize the dog. I will say kill the dogs. So they will use this ketamine as an anesthetic before applying the P61, basically the substance that will kill them. They are not using this substance legally. They are actually writing on the papers, on the reports that they are using the method, but they are taking out the ketamine and they are selling they will sell the ketamine to schools, to on the streets, definitely on the streets. So I have messages from people telling me which vet will send ketamine to what high school, or people claiming that we have a dead inmate from a prison, dead of OD of ketamine, because we have some shelters where those people from the jail will go to work. So this ketamine will reach also the different structures, let's say. This is a very, very, very extremely big problem, and I brought it to the attention of the Romanian Parliament. This report, I want you to know that this report went in so many hands. So the Prime Minister itself knows it. I gave it personally in the hands. He basically told me that the legislation is fine, we just need to enforce it, but nothing is happening. I went to the prosecutor. We have a specialized prosecutor for drug trafficking in Romania. I went there. I went with this report to the police and to ANSVSTA, the national authority in animal protection. So basically everybody knows about it. Everybody knows what's happening, how are they dying, the animals, how they are killing the animals, how are they stealing the money, what are they doing with the ketamine. And recently I asked for the authority to give me the number of ketamine, how much ketamine was used last year, and you will not believe your mind. It was around 300,000 milliliters of ketamine, I think. So it's a lot. In all the European cities are being conducted tests on residual water. So in Bucharest, when you, if you ask for the result of the residual water, you will find ketamine as the first substance, the residual substance out of the consume. So this is a very big problem. So Romania is failing to act now, not due to lack of law, because we have laws. They are not perfect. We are trying to improve them, but Romania is failing due to a deliberate refuse to enforce the laws, and is failing because of a state of complicity among the institution. We are trying to force everybody to do their jobs. After every inspection, we are sending reports and we are calling the animal police to do their inspections themselves, and the national authority to see the things that are not okay. Every time I received a response that everything is fine. After every inspection, maybe I think I received a response that they gave to fines of, I don't know, around 1,500 euros to a shelter. And this is a shelter where I found dead dogs inside the shelter, a dead puppy rotting with other puppies. My colleague went to Reșița and she found there a medium-sized dog. They were all starving, and he was eating up out of a body from a dead puppy. So basically, this is happening a lot, and in a lot of shelters. The institutional complicity and corruption, I think, it's obvious. We know we have these problems, and I honestly have no idea how to address it more than I already did. I am eagerly waiting for the results of these investigations and from my report. So we are suspecting that the documents are falsified all the time to the way that are capturing the dogs, that are transporting the dogs, that are keeping the dogs, feeding them. They don't receive any animal care. They don't receive food. They don't receive water. Usually the puppies will die in a few days. They will get sick if they don't come from the street sick, and they usually don't come from the street sick. They will definitely get different diseases in the shelter in the first days. The first dogs I told you about that were taken from my city, the 26th dog, dogs. We took out 23, and the NGO from my city took out 23, and half of them were positive with different illnesses. And I think 2 of them died, but all of them received the proper treatment, and still they are under surveillance. Financial causes. In my reports and from my findings, Romania spent over 60 million euros last year. So the 1 billion we are talking about, it's low. I think we are talking about 4 billion euros, and we could have euthanized even the dogs from, I think, all over Africa with this money. So these contracts are designed to pay for capture and euthanasia. They are created to really continue this circle. So these contracts are not meant to offer human solution. They still think that the #1 solution is to capture and kill. They don't understand, most of them, they don't understand that the solution is to sterilize. They do started to communicate and to state publicly that it's time for us to change the strategy and it's time for us to do this and to do that. But this is just saying, actually is not happening anything. I went with all these proposals, with all these solutions, and until now, nobody changed anything. And I don't see in the future any changing. So public money are probably embezzled a lot through these services. Another very important aspect is the European funds that are being drawn to the city halls through the waste management services. So basically, in these waste management services, under them, some of them use to manage also the public shelters. This is very interesting, and this is a matter that the European Commission should investigate if they are attracting money with this subject, with the waste management programs, and using to nurture dead bodies. I mean, burning the bodies of these dogs using European funds. I don't have yet anything culpable, but I think that the European Commission knows about it, and we will have an investigation on the matter. Regarding the law, we have also some issues because we have the mandatory sterilization of dogs in Romania, but we have a very stupid definition. So the definition says that it's mandatory the sterilization of dogs with or without owners belonging to common race. So what does common race mean? Usually we have common breed, we have mixed breed, but this is a finding in the law that allows you to basically bypass the law, because you will go and say, oh, but my dog is not a common mixed breed, it's a breed. So basically in Romania, the police will tell you that we cannot go and fine everybody because they have a dog that it's some breed, you know, because when you go to the vet, you will declare the breed of the dog. And if I will say it's, I don't know, it's a Labradoodle, you will say there it's a Labradoodle, even I don't have any proof of that. So we are now trying to change the law and to have to change this definition and to have clear definition of what is common breed, what it doesn't exist, so what is breed, what is mixed breed, and so on. So we will have clear in the legislation system. I want you again to be very careful using the term euthanasia. So this is very important for us. We are not talking here about euthanasia. We are talking about mass killing of dogs. The path for the transparent fund use is very important. We need transparency. We need distinct financial tracking codes in the acquisition system. So this is very important for the stray dog management because, as I told you, we cannot verify how these funds are being used. We need the European Union not to make recommendations anymore. We have passed the time of recommendation. We need mandatory law and we need it as soon as possible. And we need the know-how of the NGOs that already has proven during all these years that they found the ways to do it. And we need to collaborate and to find the best way to do what's right for them. They don't have time. They are dying every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Aurora, for the deep insights from the Romanian Parliament. The bad news is we are running a little bit out of time, but the good news is the room is free after this event, so we can continue our delay. Now we will switch over to Germany again, to Brigitta Heller-Mewissen, board member from Hunde Adoption Direct, Dog Adoption Direct. Brigitta, are you online? You're here, sorry. Welcome.
We needed.
You can start again because.
Okay, I'm Brigitta Heller-Mewissen. I in dog rescue since 8 years. We started in Azores, is a little island, Portuguese island, and we needed 6 years. And then we were ready. We went away because we had all we needed. The dogs are castrated, the dogs are not killed, and also it was a setup of a really good animal care there from the citizens. This raised up, the cruelty went away, the people started to do their own. So we said, if I care for the water, I do not need to cook the soup, I can go. So we started in Romania because I thought, it's experience we have now, how to do this, to speak with the politicians and so on. But this was not what I experienced, because in Romania we have, in fact, a very criminal and a very corrupt system. And I want to tell you what I investigated in the last years. I started when I had my first experiences with rescuing dogs. We are rescuing about 300-400 dogs a year, bringing dogs to Germany. And after I experienced this, I started to work in the political system, and I started to make investigations and researching. And I found out, in fact, we are facing here a very big business, a mafia, very criminal and really interesting only in the money. It's all about the money. Two systems, they are getting the money. First is we are putting crazy a lot of donations and money for adoptions in the system. The people that are living from this money are the veterinarians, the transportation companies, and only the ones that are fostering the dogs in their backyards. 20 dogs in the backyard, you have the same money than when you are going to work in Romania. You have to realize this. So I do not know for sure how many donations are going there in this system and in this business, but I know what we paid in the last 3 years, and this is 750,000 euro. Money we raised with adoptions and with donations. This is crazy a lot, and we are only one of the organizations that are rescuing there. So I think it's millions of euro, maybe
Hundreds of millions.
Yes, I think more. This is one part of the big business. The other part of the big business is the killing, the catching, the storing, the fostering, and the killing. Because every dog that is killed in Romania raises 250 euro for the one that does this. the majors and the town halls are not the baddest. I have to say, these are not the baddest. I have statistics, I have researched them, and I found out a lot. I found out that 54 killing shelters are not killing anymore. Why? Because the NGOs from the other countries are taking out dogs. In the last year, 40,000 dogs were taken out, not for adoption. A lot of dogs are still in Romania in private shelters, in the backyard, for 50 euro per dog per month, to finance the living of people that are really earning money with this. Because it's easy. You take a dog, you get 50 euro, and at least sometimes a dog is staying after he is out of a private of a public shelter. He's staying in more bad circumstances in a private shelter. You put the dog from the bed to the bed, often, not always, but often. It's the situation. So what I want to say is the peak of the system, the really problematic peak, are 4 extermination centers, 4 veterinarians that kill like crazy. They have killed in the last year 17,000 dogs. 4. It's Aspa Ivets, it's Daniel Lazar with Vetmedan, it's Emilia Herescu with her clinic, Harabi, and it's Pau. 16,500 dogs. In total, catched, maybe this statistic is not the truth, but it gives a direction how to think. 76,000 dogs were catched. 40,000 were taken from the public shelters to private shelters or to Germany, England, Switzerland, or Austria. And 16,500 of the ones that are left are killed by 4 veterinarians. This is deeply criminal, and I'm sure it's done with European funds. Why? These companies are working in the topics that are fitting to the funds that are given. We have companies that are working for street management, for landscape, and for garbage management. For this, you give a lot of money to Romania. In 6 years, you give 80 million euro, and one part you give for just these topics. And in this time, 22 and 23, I found out that the dog is now garbage. If you write a letter to a town hall asking them, for example, for castration campaigns, is not answering the major. No. Answering is the part of the town hall that is responsible for the garbage management. You get a letter from the garbage management if you ask something about the dog. So this is a sign that this is a connection. And also the companies that are running the kill shelters are often companies from garbage management. You can see this because in Romania, they have a so-called transparency. You can see every company in internet. You can research this. They are forced to put their, for sure, not true number of win, to put there, to be transparent. You can see that these companies are for garbage management or for, not for sure, not for a good dog management. So the first I think we need is to fight against these criminal structures, because all these nice things we can set up after we have solved this problem are one part of the complete system. The first is to really fight against the criminal power there. And this is because this land is completely poor. I have been there 3 times. I have seen the same badness against people than against dogs. The people there are crazy poor. I've seen old women without teeth in their mouths crying from pain because they have no money to go to the doctor. This is the basic of the problem with the dogs, is that the people there are really poor and they have no education. A lot of people have no knowledge of reading and of they have writing, they have not. So at least the first is to make the pressure from the European Union. You need more pressure for changement. No money without controlling, because it makes the whole situation more bad, because it feeds the mafia, it feeds the people that are making their fortune with this money. And it's in Romania are 4 really bad big companies that kill 16,500 dogs without any chance. They are not promoted for adoption. They are not. There are no efforts to make them better or to make them an adoption. No, it's not. So I ask you for stricter controlling where the money is going. I ask you really for strict rules. We need rules.
Transparency.
Yes. Otherwise, all our effort we do, all the money we send there is only for this. Because the really big business does whatever they want. And they are more strong. And the politics are also involved. Yes, they are. Because they cover it. They cover it. What we have now is, this is the last what I want to tell you, what I found out, and I'm in very good connection also with Tasika Simu. The law says that the killing of dogs can only be decided by the major and his deputy. This is the law. The majors do this often not, because we have 54 killing shelters. They are not killing anymore. It's not nice to be a killer, of course. But the ones that do not care, they gave the job to these 4 big companies, or some more. This is not allowed by the law, because the responsibility for the killing is the major, the responsible one. Now there are some court cases that have picked up this situation, and they said this is not allowed. And now they want to change the law. They want to change the law that it's allowed to put the dogs from 600 kilometers far on, from one country to another. So people cannot get their dog back. The NGOs cannot rescue the dog and make them adopted. It gets more and more intransparent. And the responsibility of the town halls is not important anymore. This would be a disaster if this happens, a disaster. And they try. In this moment, they try to change the law in this way. And this would be really bad for us all. So I ask you to do now immediately something, because it's very late. It's now on the edge. It's now really on the edge. We need decisions now. Now.
I know.
So I thank you for your ear. I thank you for your effort to be in this topic, because it's bad and it makes you sad and depressed.
Thank you, Birgitta, for your first-hand observations.
Yes.
We will now switch over to our last speaker. She's really online, not here. Christina Lapis, the president and founder from the NGO Millions of Friends in Romania. And she will tell us more about the realities of running a humane shelter in Romania. She's also expert for brown bears, but that is not the topic today. She will tell us about her shelter work. Christina, now you can unmute your microphone. Hello.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we hear you.
Hello. Hello. Do you
Yes,
hear
we hear
me?
you. You start, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for your invitation. I think that all the people who speak about before me, they have said the most important things that Europe must hear. It is one thing that I should say, that all the projects and everything that we do, it's extraordinary. It would be extraordinary, but until it is not a political will to do it, nothing will change. I created the first association for animal protection in Romania in 1997. I created the first private shelter, but we castrate around 1,000 dogs by month. But until I didn't convince the city hall of Brașov to give me the management of the public shelter, in Brașov were killed 30,000 dogs by year. Since 2013, I made a protocol with the City Hall of Brașov, and I said, okay, you don't kill any more the dogs. After 14 days, the dogs belongs to association. I put there, oh, sorry, they are my dogs. I put there 6 persons who are paid by association, but they work for the city hall. So the city hall have only 3 employers, and the rest of the employers are members of the association. And the food.
Christina, you are disconnected, but or your microphone or camera is switched off. Now you are back.
Switch off.
Please continue.
Yeah, Sherry. Yeah, now it's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Do you see me?
Yes, and hello to your husband.
Yeah, he's here, the technical support. So I think that the political will, it's a
Christina, please call your technical supporting husband again.
My internet doesn't work very well. So just a minute.
Now it seems to be okay now. We can see you and hear you.
Oh, technical problems. Yeah, so that's why I say that Europe can push Romania to respect the law from 2000, obligation of castration and registration of all with all. Do you hear me? A moment.
Maybe it's better to switch off the camera, and then there's more broadband connection for the microphone, so it's better only hear you. Try to continue.
I déconnecté. Voilà.
Yeah, I'm back. Is it okay?
Yeah, we can see you and hear you, but we were suggesting maybe that if the camera was turned off, then it would be easier for the sound to come through, because the internet would focus on passing through the sound instead of also the picture. So maybe if you can turn off the camera.
Là,
Is it okay?
Yeah, let's try like this with the microphone and the camera.
Let's try. Yeah. So since we don't convince the politician, the Romanian politician, that it's cheaper to castrate the dogs than to keep these shelters which are prisons, slaughteries for dogs, nothing will change. All the projects that all our partners, German partners, British partners, French partners made, they are very important. But the problem is in Romania. The people who live around the cities in the campaign, in the part of Romania where there are vets only for any farm animals, even if they want to castrate their dogs, they cannot, because these vets are not used to castrate the dogs. So I have the experience, we castrate dogs around Brașov. In these little villages, the vet is only for pigs and cows, and he doesn't want to castrate. That's why we make campaign of castration in these villages around Brașov. So it's a problem of the vets. It's the problem that the vets say to the owner of dogs that the dogs must have once babies, that they cannot be castrated, or they say this. They let the dogs to have little puppies, and then they have not what to do with all the puppies, and they abandon them. It's not by punishing the people that we could change the things. The education, it's very important. The education of the young generation, because we have around 2,000 students by year. And we ask the children if they have dogs, if they have animals, and they say yes. If they are castrated, no, because the parents doesn't want. If the dogs had puppies, and they said yes, and what you have done? My mother brought them in the park, in the public park, because she thought that people will take them. So I convinced the child that it's not a good solution. And after 1 week, he came and he said, my mother accepts to castrate the dog. So it's very important to change the mind of the young generation, who can change also the mind of their parents, to educate also the people. And the vets are obliged to say to the people the truth, that they are obliged to registrate the dog and to castrate the dog. I have a lot of people who come to the association with a dog castrated, but not registered. So in Romania, in this moment, nobody can say how many dogs are with owners, not stray dogs, because these stray dogs doesn't fall down from the sky. When I hear that stray dogs, they come from the people who have dogs, who make births, and the puppies are thrown to the garbage, to the park, in the garden of the school, because the children will find the puppies. So this would be important, that Europe oblige Romania to say how many dogs are with owner and how many dogs are registered, because since 2013, there are not registered many dogs with owners, I am speaking. And for this, the politician must be convinced that they have to do this, also to not spend money on killing dogs, because I prefer to say killing. This term of euthanasia, it's a lie. We must say the things how they are. We don't euthanize the healthy dogs, we kill them. Because when people hear that the dogs are euthanized, they say, oh, they don't suffer, it is not a nice death. it is killing the healthy dogs. And for adoption of the dogs, we must stop this selling dogs on the pet shop where they are sold for Christmas, for Easter, like a toy, and after they are thrown. The dog is not a merchandise that you can sell on the pet shop, because they don't know. In the pet shop, they don't ask the people who wants to buy a dog if they will be a good master, if they have space for the dog, if they know what does it mean a dog. They come to abandon dogs in my private shelter, saying that the dog is not clean, but he takes out only once by day. So of course the dog is not clean. But when he buys this in a pet shop, they him this condition. When we give in adoption, we ask them, did you have before another dog? How many space you have, where the dog will stay, in the garden, he has a house or not. So all these are a lot of conditions that things can change in Romania. And I am very grateful to organize this meeting, maybe uniting all our forces. Maybe we'll share a life to change something, because since 25 years that I create the first association, I didn't see any chance, any changing in the life of the dogs.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you for your important work in Romania. Now we finished the speakers panel round, and it's time for maybe 2 or maximum 3 questions. And I will start with one question. Last month, we finished the trilogue on the cats and dogs legislation. And one very important aspect is that the owner obligations becoming stronger on the topic of chipping, registration, and so on. And we were also successful in erasing the sentence killing we can do killings as for population control. It is erased, but not completely banned. And so my question is maybe to Aurora or to Luca. Do you think this will help in transforming into a national law, or is it too weak to help improve the situation in Romania?
In my opinion, even the smallest step, it's a good one. I think if we start from a basis, we will build around the sentence. We will see how we have to adjust it in the future, but it's a very good start. It's a perfect start.
I think the one thing that we rather need to do is incentivize on a political level that the killing method, as outlined throughout the presentations, is more expensive. So they always think that the sterilization is more expensive, but actually we have shown all of you that the killing is more expensive. And to incentivize changing this rather than focusing too much on the term of euthanasia, because to be honest, I think within Romania, moving away completely from euthanasia is something that might just be too far of a stretch for now. Unfortunately, I hate that, but yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, are there any more questions? There's one raised hand from an online participant. Please introduce yourself in a very short way and tell your question.
I have a question.
I heard that the name is Norbert Alsmann. Norbert, you are now allowed to unmute yourself and tell your question.
Question.
Okay.
All right. So I was a little shocked right now to hear that we think about to stop euthanasia in Romania is a step too much because it's too big. And I think we need to stop to think in what is politically possible and how to be diplomatically correct and how to what is too much and too less. And so I have a couple months coming. I will stay the whole next month in Romania, and I will give everything to immediately take the focus on this point to change all killing shelters to castration centers. And we need to get incredibly loud. That is what I think. And my question is, do you guys have a better idea and you guys think we can do something else? And if you don't think, probably you have a good idea to get even louder or have some opportunities to get loud and connect with me, because we cannot accept that. We cannot say, yeah, but it's too much. And if Romania could do it and the European Commission is not at the moment in the feeling to save a couple million dogs from get killed. I get crazy when I hear that. And I understand that people need to think like you or to act like some NGOs needs to act, because if there are non-NGO, if you're an NGO and you don't try to work with what politically is possible, then the politicals just cut you off. So it's I understand your position and the position from everyone who's talking and thinking like this, but we cannot accept it, I think. And I think we need to escalate it right now. I think we really need to escalate it, and I have good plans for the next month coming.
And as Tassika said, I'm just moving a little bit forward to Nathan. As Tassika said, everybody knows it already, so it's nothing new. Everybody knows it. The politicians in Romania knows it. Everybody knows it. Also here in the European Parliament, I'm sure most of the people have heard about it. So there's no time to wait anymore. So I think we all need to step together and get stronger and stronger and show that we will not accept what is happening.
It's so corrupt and so...
I think we need to stop the killing, because then...
Wait. We need to switch your...
No, we need to stop the killing because the reason earning money, the pressure that is working for earning money needs to be stopped immediately. And this is only possible if we stop the killing. All other versions will not work. And I suggest, if we are looking on the people that are working for their living in the dog business, we need new jobs for them. We need to bring them in new jobs because they will not give up their living.
Centers.
You need to put them to castration centers and to the adoption centers, because you need, of course, adoptions too. Without adoptions, you will not decrease the overpopulation.
Sure.
We're still in the question and answer round. It's still a little bit more call to action and escalating. And who wants to answer the last question? And then we one wish to the online participants, please write your question into the chat. It's more better than unmuting and.
Could I just really respond just for a second?
Yes.
I do agree with you that euthanasia should be banned. That's my position, my personal position. That's also the position of Deutscher Tierschutzbund.
Of course.
And I do agree with what has been said, like converting them into castration centers. It's just, where do the politicians within Romania listen to us?
Mm-hmm.
That is what I want to frame, basically. Like, if we can show solutions, if we focus on the solutions and rather implementing these, then being the ones that constantly tell what's wrong. And it's important to say what's wrong. You're absolutely right on that.
And it's super important to do what you say, what you guys need to do. I think both need to exist.
It needs to go hand in hand.
Yes.
And we need to show solutions and focus on these, I think, in order to be heard, in order to people not be too offended by us. Although it's something completely apprehensible, right? Yeah.
Just in completion, we have in the Romanian Parliament a few law proposals to eliminate the euthanasia for good. So we are working on it, but right now they are stuck somewhere in the Parliament. They don't want to submit it to the vote. So because, you know, you will destroy an entire system, but we are pushing towards this thing. But I want you to think about something very important. If we manage to stop the euthanasia, to totally take it out of the law, what are we going to do with all the dogs that are in the shelters? Because they, some shelters are now having this ban from the judges to stop the euthanasia, but they are finding other ways to have the dogs dead. They are putting dogs, aggressive dogs with puppies. They find other ways to kill the dogs. So we really need to find a solution quick, because it's an emergency. It's definitely an emergency. So we need to think about what's going to happen after.
So is anyone checking the chat for questions? It was a good advice for me putting a question in the chat and nobody is looking in the chat.
I think there's the question.
Nele, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So I'm Nele. I'm working for Sebastian's office. Oh, and my question for you would be, so we were talking about all the political measures, but what would you wish from all the NGOs that are here and all the people that are working towards banning? What would your wish as an EP in Romania be for us and everyone who's already working on that to do? What exactly need all of us to do to help you maybe push it through your parliament? Or what else is needed for you to think that the chances of this vote might take place are getting higher? Or is there anything that we or all the NGOs can directly do to help?
Thank you for the question. Of course. So I think that all the NGOs here and everybody here could help us to find and to create a strategy, a national strategy to do a reassessment and to sterilize the dog. We need someone with a lot of experience, with a lot of know-how to implement a system that can do all this work at a large scale, as you presented the one, but we need it at a big scale. We need it at a large scale. We cannot just go only in one region, because definitely we will not see the results that we want to receive. We also need all this public pressure. So in Romania, nobody nobody wanted to take out my report and to share it with any national television or white media. So this is the kind of subject that the country would prefer to ignore it, you know, because if you don't see it, maybe it doesn't exist. But this is not a matter that we can hide under the rug. So somebody has to talk about it, face it, and find solutions. So here you can all do this pressure, the public pressure, the ideas, to show it even in the European Parliament with the other NGOs that are involved in the activity in Romania. And also you can also find ways to encourage the European Union to really create a law, not just recommendations on this matter. So I think we have a lot of different ways to find help, to get help from a meeting like this and from the minds that come together. Thank you.
I just got via WhatsApp the one question from Steffi S. What will be done to break the corrupt system to steal public money for the catch and kill business, and how to stop the Romanian killing law? I don't know who feels like answering this. Maybe Aurora, you again.
I think the answer is very simple. You just sterilize. If you sterilize, you will not have the material on the street. You will not have, you will definitely not have the source to create all this loop. So definitely, if we go, for example, to the national register for dogs, we have that national register, and we have over 5 million dogs, 5 million and 3, I think something, okay, over 5 million. And there we will find only 1 million that is sterilized. So we know exactly who are the owners of the other 4 million dogs that will provide us puppies in the next 6 months. So we have ways to directly cut their source, you know, and also they don't want to end this business. And there are shelters that don't want to give dogs for adoption because it creates for them another expense. Because if you will go to a public shelter to get a dog, you have to get the dog vaccinated, spayed, dewormed, and registered. These are costs for them. So basically, it's easier for them, and it's more convenient for them to kill the dogs than to give up the dogs for adoption. You know, you also have to have a doctor there to do the sterilization, and all this procedure costs money. So for them, they will have more money if they keep the dog and kill it. So this is the only solution, to sterilize. That's it. To identify, to microchip, to have accountability, responsibility of the owners, and to sterilize, to stop, to really put an end.
But now we are running really out of time. And
to set up a task force, a group of people that are dealing with this topic after this meeting, and is hosted by the European Union or by your party. This would be really having an effect, because then they know, oh, they sat there, they spoke about this, and they're busy with this. And maybe at least it is connected with the given money. If there is a task force asking where is the money gone and what's going on there. I suggest this as a result of this meeting.
the official task force is now founded here. You are a member. Okay, last try for one or two very last questions from online. I heard that many participants are not allowed to unmute. Please try it again. There's a raised hand. Yes.
Yes.
We see you. Yeah, it works.
Do I have the floor? Thank you. Just to know, verify. I may talk. Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Please
Thank
talk.
you. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you for hosting this debate. It was very interesting. Just to introduce very briefly, as you asked, my name is Tudor Timionescu. Just to answer Nathan's call, I think 700,000 people in the community is quite a loud voice. So there are some people behind me. I've been in the field for 25 years. I was born as an activist in the period of the dog catching in Bucharest, which was a very dark period. And I just wanted to point out that we do have a very important success study case in Romania, which is Bucharest, which was the most dark place in Romania and in Europe. We have 15 to 20% of population there, with more than 500,000 pets in the capital of Romania. And when we started in 2016, there was a MEP also from Germany who came to Bucharest in a visit, and he told me and he told us that he did not believe that we wanted to change things. But we passed a strategy in 2017 for welfare and protection of animals in Bucharest. And ever since, and this is important to show that there are ways to manage, and some of them were said today. But I want to point also this, that we stopped euthanasia in Bucharest. It was the first and only city that stopped euthanasia. So from 2017 up until today, and we will not go back on that, we don't euthanize in Bucharest. We founded 10,000 sterilizations, neutering per year. We founded animal police. We removed animals from circuses. What Cristina Lapis was mentioning also, the sale of dogs and cats in pet stores. And now the ASPA model is a national model, which is very well established. And there are some islands, I would call them, in Romania, from Cluj, from Iași, from Suceava, that show, Pitești was, Argeș County was also mentioned, that shows some hope to expand this. I heard all the interventions and it was very interesting. I would have hoped from Ms. Tasica Simu that she would have mentioned what is happening now in the Parliament of Romania, which is very important and you should all be aware of. There are not one, not two, but 3 laws that have been advanced in the Parliament. First, to stop euthanasia, and to have a definition of all the types of dogs that we have. And this has been done not by us, although I am a dog trainer and certified dog trainer, but with the Romanian Kennel Association, which is a member of the FCI, Federación Kinologică Internațională. Also, the law 205 for 2004 that acknowledges animals as being sentient and also punishes not only cruelty against animals, I'm doing my PhD on that, but also filming, recording, you know, this problem that we have with social media, people recording how they are cruel against animals. So this is also a proposal that is going in the parliament. It is now in the parliament, in the Romanian parliament, and also improving animal welfare for the farm animals, especially chickens. So these are the 3 proposals that have to be mentioned that we are trying to push for that. And a very important thing that was mentioned by Brigitte, and I want to emphasize that yes, we have a problem with public shelters, but the biggest problem is what Brigitte said, and I agree with this, the private ones, and not the private shelters, but private people holding in their courtyard, in the back of their house, not 1, 2, 10, 50, but I would say 600 dogs. This is a real case from last year, where the police had to go with a mandate to enter the private property of somebody, and there the dogs were actually eating themselves. So this is a whole link of a chain of weak links that goes from politicians, police, veterinarians, there were also mentioned, some NGOs, not all, some politicians, and it also goes Europe-wide. And I think this was the question, what can the European Parliament do? Well, what you are doing, so congratulations on this, and we are very happy to work for this, and also push for what Arieta said, this legislation, this European regulation, that would be extremely important to have all the dogs microchipped and the cats also. We are not talking too much about cats, and have a traceability of this. So if we manage to keep on the discussion, the public pressure, have this harmonization in between the European countries, and also have a European legislation through the regulations, that would be a lot, would mean a lot, and I really appreciate what you are doing and all the MEPs that are serving to this purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. We will all stay in contact. We will continue talking about this in our new task force. Thank you. Thank you to all speakers showing us horrible things, but also showing us hope. And there is hope. And like Nathan mentioned before, let's raise our voices together for the dogs and cats in Romania. And thank you all for being part of this event today.
Thank you so much.